Hello, and thank you for your purchase of the Bluefield Seeding Solutions Precise Product Placement Enhancement for our seed sensing technology. This video will provide an overview and setup guide for the precise product placement. Going forward, you may hear me refer to the precise product placement as PPP. PPP is the latest enhancement to the press wheel system. PPP enables the precise application of liquid in-furrow fertilizers to improve the efficiency of early uptake and reduce the inefficient placement of liquid fertilizer. Before using the precise product placement, there's a little bit of setup that needs to be done. We can do this by going into the settings screen by touching the settings button on the right hand side. On the settings screen, you'll notice that we have a new tab labeled PPP. This tab is for the precise product placement. On the precise product placement tab, we have our sync cal, which is set on the precise product placement screen. We also have the calibrate button, which takes you to the calibration screen. On the left hand side, we have a nozzle selection drop-down. Below the nozzle drop-down, we have an image that shows the distance from the center of the axle of the press wheel to the spray nozzle. So this is the measurement that you'll need to do before using the precise product placement. To do this measurement, it can be done on nice flat ground, and all you'll need is the provided aluminum rod that will slide into the spray nozzle housing and a measuring tape. Here's an image from behind of the aluminum rod and how it slides into the spray nozzle housing. And this image shows the side view, because you want to make sure that you line up the aluminum rod with the beginning of the measuring tape and you measure until the center of the axle on the press wheel. Once you have that measurement, you'll want to go into the settings screen and you'll want to enter it into the text box right here. So you can touch this text box, enter your measurement, hit the OK button, and then make sure you hit the Save button. Once you have that measurement, you should be all set up to start using the precise product placement. The PPP calibration screen can be used to do 1-minute flow tests. You can decide using the toggle switch at the top if you want to perform the flow test using constant flow or if you want it based off the PPP precision spraying. You can set the spacing and the speed for the test here. The PPP rate is coming from the PPP main screen. If you wanted to have a different PPP rate, you would have to adjust it on the PPP main screen. If the PPP rate is set at 50% and your spacing is set at 12 inches, the PPP would spray 6 total inches. PPP would spray 3 inches before the seed and 3 inches after the seed. If you wanted to perform a 1-minute flow test with a constant spray, you would toggle to the constant option, touch the start button, and this will open the solenoid. When you're done, or when your test is over, you can touch the stop button and that will close the solenoid. If you wanted to do a 1-minute flow test based off the precise product placement technology, you would select the PPP option in the toggle switch. You'd set your desired spacing and speed for the test. The PPP rate would be set from the main PPP screen. When you're ready, you'd hit the start button. The solenoid will open and close based on the spacing and the speed that you've entered here to simulate field conditions. Once done, you can touch the stop button. Once you have your settings configured, you have the distance measured from the spray nozzle to the center of the axle, we can go to the new PPP main screen. To get to the PPP main screen, there's a new button on the right-hand side of the home screen labeled PPP. And on the Precise Product Placement screen, we have controls that will allow you to configure the way the Precise Product Placement is working. So at the top left-hand side, we have a selection that can be made to either set PPP to enabled or set it to disabled/constant. So if it is set to PPP enabled, this means that the spray is happening only when the press wheel senses a seed. If we were to set this to disabled, so I click on the slider to slide it across. If PPP is set to disabled/constant, that means that there is just a constant spray, so it would just constantly be spraying. The next control is the spray misses disabled or enabled. If spray misses is set to enabled, then the Precise Product Placement will spray based off of the target spacing on the main screen when the system does not sense a seed. So if we look on the main screen, you can see the target spacing is set to 11. So if target spacing is set to 11 inches, the system will spray as if there is a seed at 11 inches in lieu of no detection. If spray misses is set to disabled, then the Precise Product Placement won't spray if it doesn't sense a seed. The next control is the Precise Product Placement Rate, or PPP rate. And this value can be set by touching on the number here, and we have a nice up-down arrows for your selection. The max value is 75, and the minimum value is 25. Now, what this is this is a percentage based off of the target spacing where the spray will start and finish. So if we go back to the home screen, maybe we'll change the target spacing to 12 just to keep it a little easier for numbers. And I'll switch my target spacing to 12. I'll go back to PPP. And now the PPP rate is going to be 50% of the target spacing. So 50% of my target spacing would be 6. I have my target spacing set to 12. 50% would be 6. So what this means is the spray would start 3 inches before the seed and it would end 3 inches after the seed. On the top right corner, we have the sync cal. The sync cal is used to fine-tune the synchronization of the sprayer using the image provided by the camera. The image is refreshed every second. If most of the images of the seeds are centered on the screen, then the solenoid's timing is correct. If images of the seed are high or low on the screen, you can adjust and watch in real time to move the image towards the center. Below the sync cal, you'll find the Precise Product Placement PLC Diagnostics table. So when all the indicators in this table are green, that means the system is functioning correctly. We'll take a look next at what about when things might not be working correctly and where can we go to troubleshoot those. This diagnostic table will be very helpful for that. On the main screen, we have the spray icon that has 3 different states that it can be in. If it's flashing black like it is here, that means that the Precise Product Placement is working and it's spraying based off of the seed sensing technology. If it were to be solid black, that would mean that it's spraying constantly. And if it were to be red, that would mean that we have a PLC communication loss and we're not currently able to communicate with the Precise Product Placement. During this time, the Precise Product Placement nozzle would be spraying constantly. If that were to happen, you would notice that the spray icon will become a solid red and the button to go to the Precise Product Placement screen will flash red also. If you were to touch this button, the PPP button to take you to the Precise Product Placement screen, you'll notice that we have a warning message flashing here saying the PLC communication has been lost, and all of the controls will be disabled on this screen until that PLC communication is restored. Our PPP PLC diagnostic table will show all of the options that it can communicate with as gray, and that the PLC communication is set to red, as well as the PPP active. Also on the settings screen, if you were to go to the PPP tab, we have the PLC communication loss message flashing here also. The calibrate button would be disabled, and the distance would also be disabled, so you wouldn't be able to make any changes until the PLC communication is restored. So once the PLC communication has been restored, you'll notice that our spray icon goes back to the setting that it was before. In my case, it's set to flashing for the spray happening whenever the seed is being sensed. The warning or the red flashing is gone from the PPP button. If I were to go into the precise product placement screen, everything is back to normal. I can use all of the controls again. And if I were to go back to the settings screen and back to the PPP tab, I'm able to make changes in here, and I'm also able to go to the calibrate screen. This was disabled when the PLC communication was lost. The third state that the spray icon can be in is if it's solid black. That means that the spray is happening constantly.